It's Friday, January 8th. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Carol Francis. Chinese mobile firm Huawei donated 500 devices to the Ministry of Education's One Laptop or Tablet per Child initiative on Thursday. Portfolio Minister Favor Williams also confirmed that 6,000 devices had already been received by the ministry under the initiative. She was quick to point out that more is needed. Huawei has been operating in Jamaica for more than 14 years. At the handing over ceremony, Huawei's regional executive reaffirmed the company's role in supporting Jamaica's ICT development. At the end of last year, a total of 87 of the 171 high schools across the ministry's 7 education regions are classified as low risk, with 66 approved as COVID compliant by the Ministry of Health and Wellness and deemed satisfactory for reopening. The Jamaica Teachers Association is now reviewing the face-to-face pilots now being undertaken by some schools. Our news team caught up with them as they visited the Yallas High School in St. Thomas. Melvin Pennant tells us more.
In her back-to-school message a few days ago, Education Minister Favor Williams confirmed the expansion of the face-to-face pilots.
More schools across the island will resume face-to-face teaching and learning based on the assessments of both the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. All students and teachers are expected to utilize one or more of the 4 approaches to ensure that the education of our students continues despite the COVID-19 pandemic.
Jamaica Teachers Association President Jasford Gabriel led a team on tour of the Yallas High School.
Team members and myself are doing a tour of the parish, trying to get a sense as to what's happening in the schools that have gone face-to-face, given some of the challenges that obtain with online instructions, and now with face-to-face, trying to get a sense as to some of the positives and concerns that we are picking up on the ground. So we are here at Yallas High School, and I must pause to commend the entire administration and staff. It's clear that an enormous amount of work has gone in to make sure that the school itself is compliant in terms of getting in all the necessary protocols to keep the students and teachers safe.
Mr. Gabriel highlighted some of the challenges that teachers are facing.
In relating to teachers, not just here, but I was also at a few schools in Kingston yesterday talking with the teachers. A couple of the concerns that keep coming up. One main one is the need for laptops. The teachers, they have been repairing their own laptops and trying to purchase laptops so that they can properly deliver their lessons, and that is proving to be a challenge. So while we continue to roll out devices for students, we have to be mindful as well that the teachers need to be properly resourced so that they can offer the most effective instruction.
As face-to-face classes continue for our upper school students, other learning platforms are online, audiovisual approaches and learning kits by way of textbooks and worksheets. Melvin Pennant, PBCJ News.
And time now for a COVID-19 update from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
307 Jamaicans have lost their lives to the COVID-19 pandemic. The latest victim is a 69-year-old male from St. Elizabeth. In the meantime, the country has recorded 43 new COVID-19 cases. That pushes the overall case count to 13,411, of which 1,621 are active cases. That pushes the overall case count to 13,411, of which 1,621 are active cases. In the parish breakdown, Manchester led the way with 11 cases, while St. Catherine, Kingston, and St. Andrew and St. Anne each posted 6 cases. St. Mary returned 5 positives, Clarendon has 3, and Trelawney 2. Hanover, St. Elizabeth, St. James, and St. Thomas all reported 1 case each. The other parishes had no cases. Over the last 24 hours, 70 recoveries were reported, bringing that total to 11,323. 92 persons are hospitalized, 4 are moderate, and 6 are critical. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
More than 30 countries have begun to roll out COVID-19 vaccines. The World Health Organization's Director General gave a vaccine update at a recent press conference in Geneva.
Last week, WHO issued its first emergency use listing for a COVID-19 vaccine, the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. And yesterday, it was also encouraging to see the AstraZeneca vaccine rollout begin in the first country. 1 year on from WHO issuing its first disease outbreak news report about this virus, more than 30 countries have started vaccinating their high-risk populations with various COVID-19 vaccines. The scientific community has set a new standard for vaccine development. Now, the international community must set a new standard for access.
To date, over 88 million people have contracted COVID-19. Over 63 million have recovered from the virus. Almost 2 million people have lost their lives to the virus. Jury trials will resume on a phased basis for the Home Circuit Court and some rural circuit courts of the Hillary term effective February 2021. Jury trials were suspended in March 2020 when Jamaica recorded its first case of COVID-19. Jury trials for matters excepting where the death penalty is an issue will proceed at courts which can accommodate jurors with adequate space for physical distancing to prevent the spread of COVID-19. In order to accommodate jury trials, the judiciary will be using 2 courtrooms to hear a single matter and will be transferring matters that would usually be dealt with at the parish courts to outstations to facilitate physical distancing. In parishes where no jury trials will occur, cases triable without a jury are to proceed. Jurors summoned for courts in parishes where there are no jury trials are not required to attend and are excused without any risk of penalty. January 9 is being observed as the 3rd annual Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day, an initiative to infuse a coffee drinking culture in Jamaica to not only expand sales but to bring about a greater level of connectivity among Jamaicans will officially begin on Saturday, January 9, 2021.
Jamaica's Blue Mountain coffee has a history as rich as its flavor and is considered among the finest in the world. 70% of Jamaica's coffee is sold to the Japanese market. In 2018, Japan legislated that January 9 would be proclaimed Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day. January 9 was the date on which the largest shipment of coffee left Kingston to Japan in 1967. The date was adopted locally. Saturday, January 9, 2021 marks the 3rd annual Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day.
We want to really thank JAMPRO for the role that they continue to play in the celebration of Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day. Other activities will include coffee crawl, discounts on Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Day at our coffee shops. There will be tasting in our supermarkets, and there will be a number of other events that will be staged by the membership of the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association. One of the main things that we will engage this year to mark this 3rd anniversary is a campaign to create a coffee drinking culture in Jamaica. The statistics shows, based on a survey that has just been completed by JACRA, that our coffee consumptions in Jamaica is 0.25 kilograms per person per year. While in other coffee growing countries, you're talking about 4 kilograms of coffee per person per year. And therefore, with the issues that we have as it relates to our over inventory, we will be promoting our coffee to our citizens as well as tourists.
Smallholders are the predominant producers of Jamaican coffee. Coffee farming has leveraged development in rural areas where it's grown. However, A number of factors have negatively affected coffee farmers and producers, including a decline in the global coffee prices and prix larceny. The COVID-19 pandemic has also impacted the lives and livelihoods of small-scale coffee producers.
We want to call on the government, therefore, to look on how we can improve the conditions that our farmers grow this fantastic Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee in our rural communities, dealing with roads and dealing with other rural infrastructure.
Globally, the coffee industry is valued at over $77 billion US. Jamaica's coffee industry earns approximately $25 million US annually. The Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, with assistance from JAMPRO, is working to ensure Jamaica's Blue Mountain coffee has an even greater share of the coffee global value chain. For the news on PBCJ, I am Marlon Samuels.
The price of oil is now at an 11-month high. Find out why, as well as get other market information in this quick business report from Gabriel Thompson.
The Bahamas Petroleum Company has told investors it is on track to add further wells to its operations in Trinidad and Suriname. At the same time, it confirmed on-target production with 500 barrels of oil per day being produced at the end of 2020. Now, with an extensive work program on the slate, the company is targeting production growth up to 2,500 barrels of oil per day by the end of 2021. BPC's chief executive Simon Potter says in 2020 it brought together assets in multiple locations and laid out a strategy with operational objectives in support of delivering a significant financial goal by the end of 2021. In Wednesday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 545 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 84 stocks, of which 36 advanced, 24 declined, and 24 traded firm. The Junior Market Index advanced by 14 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for AMG Packaging and Paper Company, Barita Investments Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Stocks declined for Berger Paints Jamaica, Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, and Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited. Trading firm were Access Financial Services, CAC 2000 Preference Shares, and Cargo Handlers Limited. QWI Investments Limited was the volume leader with 30.2 million units, followed by Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with 8.3 million units, and Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with under 100,000 units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Thursday, January 7, ended trading at $143.20. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $113.88. The pound sterling traded for $195.87, and the euro ended trading at $178.47. Oil prices hit 11-month highs and were on track for a weekly gain on Friday, supported by Saudi Arabia's pledge to cut output and a global stocks rally as investors looked beyond rising coronavirus cases. Saudi Arabia this week pledged extra voluntary oil output cuts of 1 million barrels per day in February and March as part of a deal under which most OPEC Plus producers will hold production steady in the face of new coronavirus lockdowns. Brent crude futures climbed 83 cents to $55.21 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 66 cents to $51.49 a barrel. Both were on track for weekly gains of more than 6%. And that does it for this edition of the Business Report on PBCJ. I'm Gabriel Thompson.
In regional news, we begin in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The continued shortage of local feedstock is proving disastrous to the local poultry industry. This from Vice President and Secretary of the Association of Trinidad and Tobago's Table Egg Producers, Dennis Sean Ramsingh. Terry Ann Brown Campbell spoke to Mr. Ramsingh and filed this report.
Vice President and Secretary of the Association of Trinidad and Tobago Table Egg Producers, Dennis Sean Ramsingh, told TTT News in December poultry farmers were forced to sell their birds because of the feed shortage. Shipment delays of corn, soybean meal, and the byproduct wheat middling to this country in December triggered a feed shortage. While all livestock farmers were affected, Mr. Ramsing said poultry were the hardest hit. He said the sell-off resulted in lower chicken prices over the Christmas season. Mr. Ramsing said it will take 5 to 6 months for producers to replace those birds, and consumers will see higher egg and chicken prices soon.
It affected many farmers. It would have affected the entire livestock industry, from pigs to goat and sheep, coming straight down to the poultry. However, the poultry industry is a different, as we can't rely on grazing and that kind of pasture management. We rely 100% on feed as a vital necessity for production.
He said in his 20-year experience, this was the first prolonged feed shortage.
Simple corn production strategy can alleviate the necessity for imports of corn to produce the livestock feed. Right? I even went on to do a little research recently on the production of corn, whereby 1 hectare, each Carney ex-worker was granted almost 1 hectare, little under 1 hectare, and 1 hectare can produce 60,000 corn plants, which in turn is about 15,000 pounds of corn.
In a media release on December 28th, National Flour Mills said the corn, soybean meal, and the byproduct wheat middling shipments would normalize in 2 weeks. Terry Ann Brown-Campbell, TTT News.
The St. Lucia National Trust, under the weight of the financial pressure of the pandemic, has been forced to send home a dozen employees. Some feel the redundancies could have been avoided. We have more in this report.
A not-so-happy new year for the St. Lucia National Trust, tasked with protecting the island's patrimony, as a deep cut to the employee roster of the organization has left some 12 persons without a job for the new year. According to the director of the SLNT, Bishnu Tulsi, the cut could have been avoided. A government subvention valued at $700,000 was reduced to $0 back in 2017 by the Alan Chasney-led administration. The St. Lucia National Trust now struggles to make ends meet in the ongoing pandemic.
All the restructuring, what we are saving is about the subvention. It's about that amount. We gave the figures to the Prime Minister. He's aware of the challenges. He's aware of the financing gap that we have. And I think that if we were still getting the subvention, we could have retained most, if not all, of the staff we have had.
Tulsi says the trust remains committed to its mandate. However, the staff reduction, he says, will impact the organization's ability to carry out its duties properly in the eventuality of new threats to the island's heritage and patrimony. In May 2020, the Royal Jail, built in 1827, was demolished during a state of emergency.
Should issues arise, we will again try to deal with them through dialogue and discussion. If that doesn't work, we hope our members will step in and assist. A number of our councillors are also good at that. So we will have to rely on innovative ways to deal with this. Obviously, we cannot ignore our reason for existing, which is protecting the nation's patrimony. And should future threats or any threats arise in that regard, we will have to take steps. Maybe the pandemic is going to prevent any of that kind of thing from happening. We hope. We don't know.
The trust will now operate at a reduced pace to ensure the longevity of the organization. The bulk of the work will include the maintenance of the Pigeon Island National Landmark and various ongoing projects.
We are still carrying our built heritage, parts of it. So at the end of the day, we are going into a period of about maybe 11 months to a year, in which we will be doing minimum work, ensuring the survival of the organization. And then in the meantime, we had the plans that we had prior to the pandemic to expand our revenue stream. We will have to work on those, and once things return to normal, to begin to roll some of those out.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet in 2020 challenged the trust to become a more commercially viable entity. Tulsi says a re-examination of the trust has ensued in preparation for a return to normalcy to ensure that the organization can meet its operating costs and implement a new strategic plan. With the advent of 2021, the Trust remains hopeful that open dialogue with the relevant authorities will ensure that St. Lucia's patrimony remains protected. From inside the Pigeon Island National Landmark, Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.
In sports, double world under-20 champion and Jamaican track athlete Briana Williams will serve as the race patron for the 2021 Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run. The 18-year-old had an outstanding year in 2019. She reportedly says she is happy and honored to be named the patron of the run. Williams is the world age 15 record holder over 100 meters and the Jamaica Junior under-20 record holder in both the 100 and 200 meters sprint. The Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run is in its 23rd year. It has raised over $450 million for some 40 beneficiaries with a focus on health and education. This year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the run will primarily be virtual with participants running on their own and submitting their times. Sagicor first introduced a virtual run component of the event in 2020. For information on how to register for the run, donate to the cause, or purchase Sigma Run branded items, visit the website at sagicorsigmarun.com. That's sagicorsigmarun.com. Or you can call 876-936-7980 That's 876-936-7980 Or email at secretariat@sagicor.com. That's at secretariat@sagicor.com. With that, we bring you to the end of our newscast. Until we see you again, stay safe and pleasant viewing.